Hi everyone, welcome to PhDizzle. I'm your host Alice Cheng, and today we are interviewing Carolina Amador, who got her PhD in chemistry from USC, the University of Southern California, and is currently working in commercial insights at Amgen. So chemistry is pretty broad. Can you tell me exactly what you did during your PhD?
Yes, so I was more on the medicinal chemistry side. So I was pretty much synthesizing small molecules, testing them or sending them to collaborators for tests in, bioassays, and then sort of understanding if they are potential drug candidates. So in a nutshell, right, that's what I did. And a lot of friends that are not chemists, they would say it's like making potions.
So how did you get into this field of chemistry?
What did I get into? So my first job was as a medicinal chemist intern at Roche in Switzerland. So that was like really my first experience of what is to work in a pharmaceutical company. And I think that's when my passion, started to be more real. But before that, I just went to college. I was a good student. Organic synthesis was one of the classes I liked the most. And, I had the highest grade. So I just, went for a master's degree in organic synthesis. And so, yeah, then I just applied for, whatever opportunity I could. And I was fortunate to go to Roche. So I cannot say, Alice said it had like a lot of strategic thinking, right? I was young and it just, everything kind of fit together.
Mm-hmm. So can you tell me a little bit about your thesis? Like, were you trying to answer a question or were you trying to synthesize something new?
Yeah, so PhD thesis
in an easy to understand way.
Yeah. No, it's because I think how strategic and how clear your thesis is going to depend a lot on the experience you had on your PI also. In my case, it was just like 3 different projects. One was in cancer, the other one was to regenerate nerve cells in your cochlea in your ear. So things very different, but the bulk is there, which is to pretty much synthesize a specific type of drugs. The type of drugs I was synthesizing were quite different. Some of them were like small molecules, and other ones started to have a little bit more peptide base, but pretty much within still the small molecule range.
So your background's in chemistry, at the bench, you did your PhD, you worked in industry. So now you're back in industry, but you're not exactly synthesizing chemicals anymore. So tell me about what you do now.
Yes, no, that was, I decided my PhD was enough to be in the lab. So I decided to shift to a business role, and I honestly applied I wasn't set on one particular thing, so I applied for several things. And what came to me was competitive intelligence, which pretty much means, in a pharmaceutical, you have to have the external eye, right? You need to know what other people are doing, how well they are doing, if it's successful, if it's not, if they launch but they're not making money, or on the other side, they're making a lot of money, right? Whatever it is, that is either the commercial side or the clinical side, right? Like clinical trials. I support Amgen's commercialization portfolio on specific diseases, and I just have an eye out for the competitors or, potential new drugs that come to the market.
So this is pretty different than anything you did in grad school. So tell me how you found the role. I mean, was it through, I know you're also involved with something called BCLA. Maybe tell me a little bit about that and just how you came to find a role like this.
Yeah, honestly, during my PhD, I think like after my quals exam, so that's like third year, right? So my third, fourth, and fifth year, I was very active on things that are not related to my lab. So I volunteer for Biotech Connection LA. We organize a lot of events. We have a lot of networking. So I experienced a lot of networking, a lot of meeting new people, a lot of meeting new businesses, right? Startups, everything like in the LA ecosystem. So that just made me know people, right? And how you can learn about jobs, especially different jobs, right? Because as a PhD student, I can know about a research position that they are hiring, right? That's easier to get to know that information. But it's not that easy if you don't have the business experience and you wanted to go to something that you don't even know the name. You know, like job titles are so vague that you don't even know where you want to go, right? So honestly, yeah, networking, people just knew, because I always put it out there that my job after my PhD is not going to be in the lab. And people knew that about me, right? So they would just send me stuff. Oh, what about this? Oh, my, colleague is hiring. Oh, this company is hiring. I just heard about it, right? So that was kind of word of mouth. And that's how I kind of got my first job, a call with the hiring manager. So that's sort of how it happened, is networking, putting yourself out there.
Yes. That's the power of networking. And I think a lot of people don't realize, or they think about networking in maybe like a later stage of a career, but it's so important early on too. And I mean, you even started like years before you got your job, right?
Yeah. And I think it's something that if you do it earlier enough, you get into the rhythm, right? And I feel that's very important. And it's always an advice I give to grad students, because, okay, you get your first job. You might like it, you might not like it. And then how do you get to the next job? Networking, right? Because even if you don't like it, you need to understand what is it that you like. And you might not know, but the answer is there. Someone has that answer because someone has already walked the walk, right?
Yeah.
Networking should be an ongoing career development.
That's great.
That's what I feel.
Well, so you have this job. It is really different. So how was the ramp up? Was it difficult? What kind of things are you doing that may be similar and versus skills you really had to learn?
The ramp up was terrible.
Really?
It was really hard. It wasn't easy. I mean, I've been now at Amgen for 2 years, so I'm pretty comfortable with competitive intelligence. I'm still learning, right? There is always so much you can learn. Also, because you support, along your career, you're going to support different products at different stages of their lives, right? So you get to learn. It's very different if you are supporting a product that is coming to the market only in 10 years, or if it's already in the market, right? So there's still a lot to learn. From grad school to that first job, it was hard because honestly, the first 2 months, I was in meetings and I couldn't even understand like what was going on. And then specific companies use a lot of acronyms. And I was like, what's, like random things. And I just honestly didn't know. I couldn't understand fully what was going on. But I have, my hiring manager was fantastic. She's great. She's sort of, like every after every meeting, I would be like, hey, I have like a million questions. And she would just give me time to ask and, she'd help me. And so that helped me a lot, right? That helped me understand what were we talking about and what does this mean and what do I have to do next? I do have to say though, that one thing that helped me the most was because I was coming from that networking environment and from, all my contributions to Biotech Connection LA, because I did run the organization as president 1 year, before I graduated, was that I was very quick on my feet, right? I was in meetings, I was able to take minutes, even though I couldn't fully understand what it was, I could just put it right on paper. And that ability to, also quickly just have to go to a meeting on behalf of my manager was something that the hustle was already there from grad school and BCLA.
Is there anything that you still miss about being at the bench? You can be honest.
I do. I miss loud music while I'm working.
You can't do that?
Not in the office because it's open, like next generation open offices.
Okay.
And I also don't like to have loud music here.
Yeah.
I just like to have loud music. But now I can do that because, like you are in meetings and even if you are at home, right? Like meetings and then, like you have to think and write things. And so I can't, use that same part of the brain, I guess. But doing my potions in the lab and just having Spice Girls like play in the background, it was just the best.
That's amazing. So you've actually been promoted a few times. So I guess It started off rocky, but you're doing really well now. Has your role changed at all over the last couple of years?
Just pretty much the types of assets that I cover and the types of responsibilities that I have, right? So when I started, I heavily relied on my manager, right? She was my mentor. She's still, I consider her as a mentor and friend now. That's how I started. And I would just go to her, like, she would give me the answers, right? She would give me the answers to all my questions. And now I am the one that has to give the answers to someone else, right? Because now I'm in that position that I am mentoring someone else. Just, more responsibility, more leadership, more strategic thinking also, because you cannot have that in the beginning because you don't really know what's going on. But I want to say that even though it started rocky, it's not like it's rocky to me, to my standards, right? To what I wish that I would just fit like a glove, right? Like in my first month of the role. But everyone is encouraged, like everyone knows that you need an onboarding months, right? Everyone knows that coming from grad school to a business role is different. So people kind of do give you that space, especially because a lot of people that do competitive intelligence, they have PhDs themselves, right? So they had to do that shift at some point.
Is this a role or work that you want to be doing for the rest of your career, or are you still experimenting with different things?
So I don't want to do anything for the rest of my career. I will start with that. Like, I don't want to do one thing. I want to evolve. I want to change. I want to learn different things. So I love my job. I'm a generalist, and this type of role is amazing because you get to know a little bit of everything within the life cycle of a drug. Right? So literally anything. And I really like that. I like that generalistic aspect. I'm not as much, like a data person that just, wants to do maybe that one or two types of job. Where am I going to go? I have no idea. I'm very happy right now. I really love what I do. Yeah. And then it's like the train of opportunities, right? If you do a good job, and if you love what you do, and if you also have a good personality, right? When an opportunity comes, it's your choice to either take it or not, right? Depending on the moment you are in your life. Every day, like, I kind of realize that the world is so big, right? Because you have pharma, but then you also have medical devices, and now you have like digital health. Like, there is so many things we can do that I don't want to say that I'm going to do this forever. I want to learn that. So I will take it wherever, learning and growth opportunity will take me.
That's great. That's a great perspective to have. So you mentioned BCLA or Biotech Connection LA. Can you tell me a little bit about that organization or other ways that you're involved in the community? I think there's a women's group that you also run.
Yes.
You're pretty involved. So tell me about what types of things you do outside of work.
Yes. So I started volunteering for Biotech Connection LA, which is an organization that is trying to close the gap between life sciences in industry and academia, right? They think that you have a PhD and you have a postdoc, the alternative careers, which I hate that term. But so BCLA really supports students that way, either, webinars, networking events, career fairs, all those things. So I joined BCLA a long time ago as an events associate, then, got to VP, president, then to the board, and now I'm the chair of the advisory board. So what I do particularly is just to make sure the organization keeps growing and is sustainable, because everyone in the team is a grad student or, like an early professional. They all have a million things going on in their lives, right? And the turnaround, usually the president can be 1 to 2 years, right? So we have a new president every 1 to 2 years. So we make sure the organization is going to stay, right? It's going to be sustainable. So that's sort of the role of the board. For the Healthcare Businesswomen Association is something I joined only 2 years ago when I became part of Amgen, because it is more, targeted to the business side, right, of the healthcare. Right now, I'm actually leading the Entrepreneurship Affinity Group. and I'm responsible for, California and Seattle as well. And I'm just so excited because I'm just like building a team of volunteers that are just passionate about startups and the startup ecosystem. And our mission really is to bring the spotlight to female founders, VCs, incubators, accelerators, anything and everything that is, making a startup, right? That is giving a chance to the startup community.
So we've talked about grad school, your job, things outside your job. What about like personal hobbies? I know you're so busy, but maybe you have some personal time where you like to have fun. What do you like to do?
Does my career development podcast count?
Yeah.
Definitely not. That's still work.
No, but I want to hear about that. So I know you launched a podcast. Tell me about that. And I know it's still fairly new, right? So you've got a couple episodes under your belt. So yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah, so I co-hosted with my friend Paymaneh, and we pretty much, because I have such a large network of people, we just literally interview people about their career journey, and we usually focus on like one or other particular, like the X factor, right? Someone that either went from industry to like academia to industry, or that just took a lot of responsibilities, whatever it is. So we just go over career development, right? Like career journey tips. Our next episode is with a recruiter, and she's actually giving us like recruiting tips.
Oh, great.
For the hiring process. I took so many notes. Well, I was like, I have like to make the best out of this interview, but I was like
free career advice. Yeah.
Oh my God, this was like amazing. So that's something I do, but that's still work related.
Well, one thing you mentioned earlier, you like listening to the Spice Girls, so that counts as a personal hobby. What kind of music do you like?
Okay, no, let's talk about Spice Girls, because so I've never been a big concert person. Mm-hmm. I've only attended two concerts on my whole life, right? One was Alanis Morissette's back in Rock in Rio in Lisbon when I was in high school. And the other one was after I graduated, or I can't remember. Yes, it was like my last month or something as a PhD student. I bought tickets to see the Spice Girls reunion, which was like 2019.
Where?
Edinburgh.
Wow.
So I flew from LA to Scotland.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
By yourself, or did you go with friends?
So my best friend from home, from Portugal, flew there, and I flew from LA there. It was amazing. It was like 4 days just with her because of Spice Girls, which, like it was our childhood, a band.
That's amazing. Anything else you like to do on weekends, like hiking or, okay.
So I do prep food. I'm now into prepping food for the week.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm going to stick to it. It's a lot of work.
Versus just like, when you don't prep food, do you just buy food, or you just like
no.
the day of?
I make the day of.
Okay.
Which is also a lot of work. So I'm like a home cooked person. Like I rarely like order. Mm-hmm. So I'm into that now and sort of figuring it out. Alice, is like, how can I live? That's where I'm at, right? Like, how can I make life like a little easier, more efficient, I'm very efficient in my job, and now I'm trying to bring that a little bit into my my life. I don't know.
Wow. Do you have any favorite like kitchen tools?
Kitchen tools.
Like I have an Instant Pot, which is amazing.
That's what I was gonna say. Okay. I do like my Instant Pot.
Okay.
Yeah. And my Vitamix. I cannot live without my Vitamix.
Oh, I don't have one of those. Okay.
I cannot live without.
Everyone's been telling me to buy an air fryer, and I haven't gotten there yet. I feel like that's a slippery slope, because then I just like start eating fried foods, and then I'll just like eat the actual fried foods,
I'm with you. I was talking with a friend about this, and it's like it actually occupies a lot of space. Also. Yeah. And then I was like, actually, what about an ice cream maker?
Ooh, that's a good idea.
Right?
Especially for the summer. Well, I guess it's always nice in LA, so it doesn't really matter. Any time of year. That's
so maybe next time we talk, my hobby is going to be to make ice cream.
Yeah, I think that might be one of my hobbies too, so we could share tips.
Okay, I love that.
Okay, sorry I stole your hobby. Okay, we can share. PhDizzle.
Having fun with smart people that do cool things.